guys, welcome back to another Mayan Technologies video. My name is Viviana Vega, and today with me is Dora Chavarría. We're both principal financial consultants here at Mayan Techs. Today we're going to talk about something that you might find interesting. We're going to talk about tips and tricks for reconciliation in Epicor Kinetic. I know that you probably face this a lot of times when dealing with companies, and this is something that's really recurrent when we talk with different businesses. How to reconcile, and once you are in a bad position, what you can check in order to make sure that you see your numbers balancing and confirm that your numbers are correct. So let me start 1st. One of the things that I usually recommend to my users is make sure that you have a good starting point. I mean, you cannot start reconciling if you don't have a good starting point. So make sure that you identify when was the last time that your accounts were balanced. Otherwise, any effort or anything that you check won't matter if you don't have a good starting point. So whether that was 1 month ago or it was 3 or 5 months ago, make sure that you have a place where you want to start reviewing your transactions. Now, that's your starting point. Tool-wise, what you can use in Kinetic, it's mainly reports. So you have reports that you can use as a subledger. Just be careful of what type of reports you're going to use, because the type of report will determine the parameters or how you can use those. We have probably mentioned before this about reports, but reports in Epicor can be dynamic or static. So static reports are those that you can backdate without issues. So age receivables or age payables reports are a good example of that. Dynamic reports are those that will show you data in real time. So you won't be able to backdate those. So you'll need to be sure that you have a snapshot of those so you can use those for reconciliation. The receipt not invoice report or the stock status report are good examples of dynamic reports. So if you're going to use reports for reconciliation, make sure that you identify which one you're using so you can run them properly.
Yeah, that's a good point, because actually I've seen some customers that they found out they are on unbalanced condition, and when we dig in and review their reports, we found that they've been on imbalance since the opening balances, since they when they started with the application and they loaded all these beginning balances, and they made a mistake, and that's why it's not balancing properly or it's not matching with the actual system report. So that's a good point. Another tip that I can think of is always review if you don't have any unposted transactions. Look for your groups. It can either be AR invoices, payments, AP invoices. For example, capture cost whip is a big differentiator between what you can see on the inventory reports or on your GL reports, like chart tracker or GL reports. So that will be another tip. And please do not forget reviewing the review journal, because sometimes we think that the transaction is already posted and that it already hit GL, but then I've seen some transactions like from 5 years ago stuck there on the review journal, and that's why you get an unbalanced condition.
Yeah, it's really important to check what you were saying. You don't know how much impact does an unposted transaction does for balancing. So even when the transaction is not posted, it could already impact your reports. For example, and this is a quick example, if you're talking about the receipt not invoice report, having a receipt selected at invoice entry, even if that invoice is not posted, is already taking that transaction out of the report.
Yeah, that's true.
So if the transaction is not posted, obviously your clearing account is not being hit. So those are the type of things that you'll want to verify before digging into the reconciliation. So make sure, as you were mentioning, that there are no transactions left unposted, because otherwise you're going to probably miss things that you want to review while checking the reports. Okay. And then, so we have talked about kind of some tools that you can use, or reports, making sure that you don't have posted transactions. Also, a good thing for you to check is make sure that your setup is correct. Things that you can check setup-wise, GL controls. Remember that the GL controls help you to see where or how the transactions are being used. Make sure that you're not using a clearing account anywhere else in the system. Like a clearing account should be only for that. You can, if you're working already in Kinetic, there's a cool feature that has been added at the GL account screen, which is the where use section. So that's a section that's going to be filled automatically once you start selecting your GL account in a GL control, and can let you know where this GL account is being used. So take advantage of that. And then also something that not many of my customers know is how to restrict the GL accounts from having journal entries being entered. There's a feature in the account segment value section where you can limit which segments can allow journal entries to be entered. So that's something that you might also want to take a look at.
Yeah, I love that feature of the were used because it's like very visual and you can see in one glance and in one window where are these GL accounts being used. If you're not yet on Kinetic, one of my favorite tables is GL control account, where that's where you find the GL account and on which GL account context it's being used. So that's another cool trick, right?
Yes.
And now let's talk about the don'ts, the things that we should not do with some specific GL accounts. For example, manual journal entries, right?
No, always no.
Yeah, for example, do not, the restrictions that Viviana was mentioning is especially for that. So you can restrict the users of using these system accounts, for example, the accounts payable account, the clearing account, prevent users for using that account on a journal entry because that is a no-no.
There are some accounts that are control accounts that you where the manual journal entries are not going to interface or to interact with those reports. So having a manual journal entry in those accounts could lead out to discrepancies. So if you want kind of more control on that, make sure to take advantage of the feature that we were talking about. And what I've seen often is that people tend to use the manual journal entries to fix stuff that's going to later be fixed with timing. So
yeah,
sometimes you get stressed because something's not balancing, and then you go and enter a manual journal entry. Then the correct transaction happens, and that manual journal entry just creates a bigger unbalance on your GL account. So make sure that you identify those control accounts so you can avoid making manual journal entries in there, because otherwise you're going to create a bigger unbalance on your transactions or on your account. Sorry.
Yeah, and also, what about the checkbox at company configuration that says allow unbalanced journal entries?
That's tricky. I mean, it's there for a reason, but it's something that you need to be careful about. So
correct.
If you see it, kind of make sure that you identify why is it used for. If you need someone to help you to identify when to use those checkboxes, make sure to reach out to a consultant so they can help you to make the right decision when trying to fix something that you have in your system.
Correct.
So I think we covered everything. We have talked about kind of tools that you can use in the system. What are the don'ts on the system? Some setup tips that you can take a look at on the ERP. So if you find anything that on your system where you'll need some help, feel free to reach out to us so we can help you with that. And not sure if you want to add anything.
Well, just remember to visit our website, mayantex.com, and contact us if you want a consultation. We'll be happy to assist in any financial issues. And thank you for watching. If you found this information useful, please click like and subscribe. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.